We did a lot of hiking when we were in Sierra Leone, and we went up Sugarloaf, which was the tallest peak on the Freetown Peninsula. It's not a very tall peak, but it was still a very difficult hike because there really wasn't a very well-established trail. Lots of picking your way through the brush, or the bush, as they call it. You know, as in there's bushes everywhere, so we're gonna pick our way through the bush. Well, we climbed to the top, I think on 2 different occasions. One of them, it rained so hard. Wow. Okay, if you don't live in a tropical region, I don't really know how to explain the rain. It really is as if you're standing under some eaves and someone is up above you on the roof and they have like 15 buckets of water filled to the brim, 5-gallon buckets, and they take them and they throw them down as fast as they can on top of you. Except, of course, for the buckets. They don't throw that. They throw the water inside the buckets. Lots of water. So, when you are outside and it's the rainy season in Sierra Leone, everybody just kind of stops and stands underneath, you know, some sort of shelter, and barely anybody is in the streets except for the cars. Which I'm sure the taxi cabs absolutely love these little rain breaks, because suddenly there's nobody on the streets and they can actually get somewhere. But then maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes later, the rain stops and then you go about your business. It's like, wow, huh. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of shelter when you're in the jungle. And by the way, when you're hiking through the jungle, it is such a cool experience because there's so much life in the jungle. It's really unlike any other ecosystem I've experienced. It's the complete polar opposite from the Alaskan tundra that I've hiked in, because everywhere you look there's life, and it's not just like normal ho-hum life, like, oh look, it's a ladybug. Oh, it's weird life, like caterpillars from an alien planet, or these big winged bugs that just send shivers up your spine. There's just a lot of life, very, very lush, and so it makes for a very, very interesting hike. And then when it rains, everything just becomes this waterfall and you are soaked. Yeah, I did bring an umbrella. And don't make fun of me for umbrellas. Umbrellas are magnificent inventions. If you've ever hiked in a climate that's extremely humid, umbrellas are your best friend, because they will keep, I don't know, from the waist up. Depends on how windy it is, but they'll keep you primarily dry. And yet they also keep you very cool. Let's say you wear a rain jacket and it's humid out, like really, really humid, and it starts to rain. The last thing you want is your torso wrapped in a plastic jacket. It's just uncomfortable. So we eventually did get to the top of Sugarloaf Mountain. There really wasn't anything too spectacular up there. On one of the days, it was a clear day, and you could look out over this valley. It was just something out of Jurassic Park. It was so beautiful, except for the dinosaurs. Ugh. Yeah. But the rain there is just so eerie. When you're in the actual city of Freetown, when there's a monsoon, these streets become the drainage system. There's, the sewers overflow, and just everything is just in the streets. I imagine that quite a few kids die each year simply because they're swept away by the power behind these rivers. You're driving along and you're like, okay, it's dry, and then it starts to rain like that, and again, buckets, and then these cross streets that you're going by, you can hear this dull roar of water just, and it's like this chocolate milk, because many of these streets are kind of this reddish brown dirt, so it's not clean water, but so intense, so awesome. Yeah, so when you're in Africa, have an umbrella. Don't worry about getting your feet wet, and drive. There we go. Just drive as much as you can. Unless you're in Freetown, then you have to walk everywhere. Which, by the way, in Creole, when they say something twice, that means it's a small amount. So typically we'd go out on short walks or small walks, or in their language it would be a waka waka. Yeah, because it's a short walk. Hey, do you want to go on a waka waka? Sure. Is Fozzie Bear joining us?
Waka waka.